Assalamualaikum. So this is the first class, our new Shahada class specifically for the sisters. This class is a sisters only class because we will have times where sisters will be asking questions and I will be answering questions based upon sisters. Not all of the sisters come on to the class covered, and we just ask that all of the men respect this sisters only space. So if you have registered for the new Shahada class already, then that means that you received, along with your registration and your subscription, you received a pamphlet that was given to you either PDF form or in the mail. We will be using the Islam 101 Intro to Islam booklet, which is one that I have compiled of all of the necessary parts for this class that we will be using, and we're going to be following out of that book or that pamphlet that I have either mailed out to you or emailed over to you. Okay, just as a quick synopsis of what we're going to be going over today, if you will turn to the first page, it says outline for new Shahada class. This is the outline. I don't know if you guys can see that. I hate that this camera is so fuzzy. I don't even know how to zero that in. Maybe it's just the quality of my laptop. But this is the sheet nonetheless, okay? So today we will be discussing very briefly the 6 beliefs of Islam, the 6 things that we believe as Muslims, the 5 pillars of Islam. We will go over those, we will mention all of those, and we will go in depth today about the Shahada and the preparation for Salat. Okay, so we will be discovering what are the things that you need to do before making the Salat, what are the things that you are required to make sure is always a part of your Salat. But today specifically we're just going to be covering the Voodoo, the Ghusl. We're not going to get into Tayammum. We're going to do Tayammum next week, inshallah. Okay? But we will talk about preparation for Salat. So, the fundamentals of Islam, class number 1, as you will see underneath the first section, is the 6 beliefs. We believe, of course, in Allah, who is another name for God. Allah created the angels, so the second belief is the angels. The third belief is the prophets, okay? And those angels that we believe in did direct communication to the prophets, which a lot of times when different messages or books were being revealed, the angels were constantly in communication with the prophets, okay? Whether that was Prophet Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Abraham, Moses, whichever ones you want to talk about, the angels a lot of times were communicating with those prophets, okay? So we believe in Allah first. Second is the angels. Third is the prophets. Then we believe in the holy books that the prophets brought. So in Islam, this is not just the Quran. This is the Injil, which is considered the Bible. This is the Torah, okay? And this is the Quran, which is what we as Muslims follow first. But the other 3 holy books are also of importance, and we believe in all 3 of them. Okay, we believe in the Qadr. The Qadr is basically what Allah has already decreed. As you hear some Muslims say, the pen is lifted and the ink is dry. That is referring to the Qadr. So what Allah has already written to happen will happen, and this is the concept of the Qadr. The third concept is the 6th belief is the Day of Judgment, which is of course, the Day of Reckoning, also known as the Day of Reckoning. This is the day when we all will go before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will question us about what it is that we did in this life during our time here on earth. What are the good deeds we did? What are the bad deeds we did? Every single deed you do, from the time you are born or from the time of age of accountability to the time that you die, everything is being recorded, okay? And those recordings of what's happening from the two angels, the one over your right and the one over your left shoulder. The right angel is recording all the good deeds you do. The angel on your left is recording all the bad deeds that you do. These are going to go into a scroll, and on the day of judgment, this scroll is going to be dropped down, and before Allah, you will answer for every single action you did. Okay? So that is the concept of the day of judgment. It is a day of reckoning. So the 5 pillars of Islam are Shahada. Okay, that's the declaration of faith. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. This means there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad was his messenger. Okay, that is the Shahada. The Salat is prayer. Okay, there are two major forms of prayer, which is dua and salat. Both of them are important, but in this particular case, we are talking about salat, meaning we make preparation for making the 5 daily prayers of the 5 daily prayers. Okay, that all Muslims are to abide by. The third pillar of Islam is zakat. Zakat is a form of, it's similar to charity, but is given specifically during the month of Ramadan, and it is calculated, which we also will cover in this course, the new Shahada course. It is calculated based upon everything that you own, okay, and how much money you have, what your resources are. Out of that, you will take a percentage, and of that percentage, if you reach a certain amount that year, you are responsible for paying zakat every single Ramadan. Okay, zakat is specific to Ramadan. Psalm is fasting. So fasting, and there are different times that you fast, okay? But fasting, of course, during the month of Ramadan, which is the most popular time, that's the time that everybody talks about. But according to the Sunnah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also fasted Mondays and Thursdays, and he also suggested or made part of the Sunnah that we fasted certain days of holy months. So there are other days, other important days during the holy months that we as Muslims should fast. It is not obligatory, but it is suggested, highly suggested or recommended, which is considered the Sunnah of the Prophet, what he did, and so we therefore try to follow what he did. Okay? So, with that being said, as I discussed, the Shahada is the declaration of faith, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. While you are making salat, every single time you make salat, you do the Shahada, okay? The salat is besides the declaration of faith, it is also the first step towards you being a Muslim, okay? If you do not believe that there is only one God and that God is Allah, and you do not believe that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the seal on the messengers, then you will not be considered a Muslim. That is the first part of it. But after you take your Shahada, then comes the aspect of acting out what it is that a Muslim is. So the Shahada is just not about, okay, I'm going to decide that I'm going to say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and never try to follow the actual Sunnah that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has left for us via the Hadith. Okay, so the Hadith is a direct depiction of what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do from day to day. It is like saying I am best friends with Sophia every single day went to the water. She got a bucket of water. She brought it back to the home. She poured it into the bathtub for her husband. And this is what Sophia did every day. That is like what the Hadith is, except they are accounts made by the Sahaba. So people who were directly around the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they watched everything he did, and they recorded it. And based upon what they recorded, this is known as, these are the accounts that are in the Hadith, and it is known as the Sunnah. So as I said, we follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. That is us directly following what it is that the Prophet Muhammad did. Okay? So the Shahada, it's just important to remember that not only do you make that declaration of faith, but we are also, since we believe that the Prophet Muhammad was our prophet, we are also trying to follow what he did as closely as possible. Okay? So the Salat, there is preparation that we make in Salat, so before Salat. So if you will go to your Salat handbook, which is indicated inside of your book. I believe it's the 3rd chapter of the book. After discussions, you will come to lesson 1, introduction to fiqh and its 5 pillars of Islam. Okay. Okay. So, what is fiqh? Fiqh is Islamic jurisprudence. Okay, it is described or known as the duties and how to perform them. That is what fiqh is. Okay. As I said, there are 5 pillars in Islam. So page 54 and 55 are talking about the 5 pillars of Islam and basically reiterating what we just discussed. Purification and its means. So there are 3 main ways that we as Muslims purify ourselves. The first one, and the most popular one probably, is the wudu. The wudu is what you do prior to making the salat. The next one is ghusl. There are certain times that you need to make a ghusl. And then there is tayammum. Tayammum is when you don't have clean water around as a source, you use clean dirt. It's clean dirt is what you use to wipe over you when it is time for a prayer, or when you don't have any water to purify yourself. Okay, so the wudu and the ghusl ritual bath should be performed with pure water. To be considered pure, water should be free of color, taste, or smell. So we can't use swamp water and call it pure. Okay, we can't use swamp water. First of all, water that is not moving or flowing freely, such as in nature, is not known as water that we should be using. We should not be using water that is still, that has a smell to it, that has a crazy taste to it, any of those things. Okay. However, if any of these things come from dirt, rocks, salt, or other naturally occurring sources, the water may be used. Okay. So meaning, we don't want to use swamp water because most times swamp water has also been mixed with some other unclean source of water, and it is not moving, it is stagnated. And since it's stagnant, we don't want to use water that is dirty. Okay. Furthermore, according to Hanafi fiqh, if any pure substance is mixed with water, the water can still be used for wudu or ghusl as long as 2 of the 3 qualities have not been changed, meaning color, taste, or smell. I personally follow Maliki, so my understanding is that if the water is not clean, we don't use it. Okay. If it has najas in it, known as urine, feces, or bodily fluids that is ejaculated through sexual intercourse with your husband or your wife, you don't use that. Okay. So some sources of pure water are springs, wells, rivers, rainwater, melted ice or snow, and seawater. Those are forms that you can use. As Muslims, we want to make sure that not only is our body clean when we're going into prayer, but we also want to make sure that our clothes are clean and that we are also in a clean place for worship. Okay? So, as Muslims, we are required to observe basic hygiene. Each time we go to the bathroom, we must clean ourselves with water if it is available. So, everyone should be making istinja. If you don't know what istinja is, it is when you fill up the water bottle or you take some kind of water and you wash it over your private parts to remove the urine or the defecation that is there. Okay, the feces that is there. If water is unavailable, we may use toilet paper. If we are outdoors or away from a modern toilet, we may use leaves or stones to clean ourselves. But it is preferable that we use water. So I personally myself, I carry a small stinja bottle. You can find the stinja bottles a lot of times. Sisters, if you ever had a baby, you will know that you get like a little bottle usually that comes along with the sitz bath that they give us, in a hospital. But if you've never had a baby, you can find them at the dollar store. Even a squirt bottle, whatever form of water you want, an old water bottle, carry in your pocketbook empty. When it's time to use the bathroom, you fill it up, rinse yourself, and then empty the remainder of the water that's in the bottle. That's just an easy, way to always make sure that you're prepared to be able to make wudu, or to be clean so that you can make wudu. Okay? So, and we must also make sure our clothes are clean. We don't want to have najas on our clothes. Najas are impurities. Urine, as I said, urine, feces, or ejaculation from a sexual encounter with our husbands or our wives. But in this case, it will be our husbands because this is a sisters only class. Okay, so some of the benefits of Voodoo. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "O you who have attained faith, when you are about to pray, wash your face and your hands and arms up to the elbows. Rub your heads with water and wash your feet to ankles." This can be found in Al-Ma'idah, the 5th surah of the Quran, verse 6. Okay? We also want to make sure, something I want to talk about real quick, ladies, is when we are going into Salat, we don't want to be in an altered state of mind. We want to make sure that we are always clearing our minds. So one of the practices that I shared with the sisters that are in our Saturday classes earlier today, prior to videotaping this course, is that when we are getting ready to make salat, if your mind is filled with, oh, hey, I think I'm going to make boneless chicken tonight for dinner, or my husband has an appointment, or the children have an appointment tomorrow, or, you know, I got to call sister so-and-so when I get done salat. Get a journal, ladies. Get a journal. In this journal, I want you to write down, prior to Salat, all of your thoughts. Okay? Write down all of your thoughts and clear your mind. I call it parking your thoughts. If you park your thoughts, they will not be racing through your mind when it's time to make Salat. Okay? And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're always concentrating on or trying to get to the point of is concentration during Salat. We don't want to be standing before Allah and our mind is everywhere else. Okay? So we want to prepare our minds as well as our bodies, physically washing it, and our clothing, you know, being free of najas. Okay? So Uthman ibn Affan, or Affan, radiyallahu anhu, reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "He who makes wudu and makes it in the best way, his sins leave his body, even from beneath his nails." Okay, this is translated in Muslim, the Muslim hadith. Okay. Next, we will cover the significance of the wudu, each act of wudu. So there are faraid al-wudu, which is the 7 compulsory acts of ablution, and we're going to discuss those in depth. But fard acts means things that are obligatory. So there are some things that we have to do during wudu that if we don't do them, or ghusl, that if we don't do them, they are not, our wudu or our ghusl is not considered accepted. So we want to make sure that we are covering and we are completing all of those steps. Then there's known as sunan al-wudu, and this is the necessary acts of ablution, okay? By the tradition of Rasulullah. So what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do, this is known as the sunnah, and this is what we follow in the wudu. And then it's the mustahabat, which is al-wudu, which is recommended acts of wudu. So there are about 5 to 10 other small acts which are recommended because these make the wudu more perfect. But however, if they are not included, the wudu is still valid. Okay? So we will discuss this chart. So on page 62, if you will go to 62 in your booklet, there's the acts of ablution, fard, sunnah, and mustahab. Okay, there, the practice of fard, the fard practices of the wudu. The things that are fard is for us to set our intentions before doing the wudu, washing the face, washing the arms, washing the feet, rubbing thoroughly when washing, and not interrupting the wudu. Now, rubbing thoroughly when washing, we want to make sure, ladies, that when we are wetting our hands, we're wetting our hands and we're thoroughly, you know, rubbing with a swift motion each body part. Don't just wet your hands a little bit and barely be scared because you don't want to mess up your makeup, you don't want to mess up your hair. No, the wudu is a purification ritual. So if we are not wetting ourselves, how are we purifying ourselves, okay? We want to make sure that we're removing all of the things that may be impure on us. Also, something else that I forgot to mention was when you're going into the wudu, besides you setting your intentions, you want to make sure that, when you're washing over your hands, you're thinking about, Ya Allah, remove whatever I have touched that was not of you. When I take water into my mouth, Ya Allah, rinse away the negativity that I speak, the backbiting that I might do, anything that's negative that we may use our tongues for, okay? Because we know that on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the tongue will be the thing that the majority of the women will go into the hellfire for. So we, as women, want to make sure that we are constantly setting our minds to be in a space where we are removing any negativity coming out of our mouths. Okay? Anything I may have smelled that was improper when I sniff and blow out through my nose. Anything that I may have been confronted with, or an attitude I might have had, wash my face. When I wash it over my head during wudu, anything that I may have been thinking that was not proper, anything I may have been hearing when I wash my ears, any places I may have gone with my feet that was not proper, anywhere my feet may have taken me, I may have traveled to that was not proper. Ya Allah, remove that what's the good word for it? Darn, you guys, I can't think of the word. Remove that want to travel to, that place that isn't good for me. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are thinking about all of these things, and we are asking the Lord to purify us of this, when we set our intentions in the beginning and as we're washing those body parts. Okay, the sunnah acts of the wudu are washing the hands, rinsing the mouth, sniffing water and blowing it out, wiping the head from front to back, wiping the head, neck, and to hairline, wetting the hands to rub the ears, rubbing the ears, and doing the acts of ablution in order. So it is sunnah for you to do them in order, but if you do them out of order, it's not considered something that's like the worst thing ever, okay? It's not completely obligatory that you do it in order, although it is preferred. And the mustahab part of the wudu is the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the declaration of faith of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah at the end of the wudu, the brushing the teeth before ablution, the repetition 3 times of each act, choosing a clean place for ablution, and not wasting water, not wasting water in ablution. Okay? These are the things that we want to make sure that we are performing every time. We definitely want to make sure we cover the fard ones. We definitely want to make sure we include the sunnah, because that is the acts of the Prophet Muhammad and what he used to do, and we want to follow that in Islam. And then we also should try to include the mustahab. Okay? So now we're just going to go briefly over how you perform the wudu. So if I was getting ready to go and I was getting ready to do my wudu, I'm going to set my intentions, okay? I'm getting ready to enter the bathroom, Ya Allah, for me to make my wudu. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I walk into the bathroom, I make my intention, Ya Allah, to myself. Ya Allah, I now intend to make my wudu, purify me of any unclean things that I have done, and I ask that you will help me, guide me upon the straight path. Then I wash my hands. So my right hand up to the elbow. Up to the wrist and down. I'm doing that 3 times on the right. Then I'm coming to my left. I'm doing it 3 times. And the whole time, you guys, your hands are in the water. Okay? So you're going to rinse your hands. Next, you're going to take water into your right hand. And you are going to put water into your mouth. Swish it around, spit it out. Do that 3 times. Next, you're going to sniff the water into your nose. You're going to sniff and then blow it out. Now, don't just barely put the water there. You need to sniff it in and blow it out. Because what we have to understand is there's a science to wudu. So when we take the water into our nose and we blow it out, it's cleaning up your sinuses. I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced having a sinus headache or congestion. After you make Voodoo, it is less intense on the head, okay? So if we are making the Voodoo properly, we should not be having nasal congestion, okay? It will wash that away. We want to wash our face from the hairline to the chin and cheek to cheek. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to go across my face, right hand across my face, right hand across my face, okay? Wash the right arm up to the elbow. So I'm going up to the elbow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm going to wet my hands. I'm going to go over my head. Wet my hands. Go over my head. Wet my hands. Go over my head. Get down to the root of your hair, sisters. Not just on top. I know some sisters in the masjid, they wet their hands barely, and they barely rub it over their head because they don't want to mess their hair up. I understand that. But unfortunately, that's not the correct way. We need to be making sure we are fully wetting our heads, okay? As far as down to the root, we get the water down to the root. We make, we go into our ears, behind the ears, in the back, the nape of our neck, and down, okay? And then we do our feet 3 times, right and then left, up to the ankle. Now, when you think about the concept of right to the left, this also includes after we, sorry, I had a phone call coming in, you guys. It was like real random. Sorry about this. Give me 2 seconds so I could try to get this volume off. I thought it was already off. Okay, sorry about that distraction. A'udhu billah. Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, I should say. So, okay, so I was at the head. So we go to our heads, we wet it 3 times. We go through our ears, we go to the back of our neck, we wash our feet. So I was talking about how you start from the right foot and you go to the left. When you go on the right foot, you want to make sure that you are literally starting from the right. So I even go in between my pinky toe all the way up to the big toe. And when I get to my left foot, I go from the big toe to the pinky toe. Literally from right to left, okay? So after we have done all these different things, we say the declaration of faith, okay? And that's La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. And this is the completion of the Voodoo. Now, there are a couple of things that nullifies the Voodoo, and this is important for us to know. According to Maliki fiqh, so I'm going to go over all of them. I personally follow Maliki fiqh, so according to Maliki fiqh, there is 6 things that nullifies your Voodoo, okay? Defecation, urination or passing gas, deep sleep, whether short or long, loss of one's senses due to fainting, madness, or drinking alcohol, emission of semen, meaning wet dreams for men, touching the uncovered private parts with the palm of the hand or the fingers, and then having doubts about whether one Voodoo is broken or not. So if you made Voodoo earlier and then you can't remember if you went to the bathroom or you broke one afterwards, you just need to go ahead and repeat your Voodoo. Okay? The next school of thought is Hanafi madhab, which is, there are 7. So passing of gas or fluid from any part of the body, deep sleep in a reclining position. So sleeping, sitting, standing, or kneeling position does not break the wudu for the Hanafi madhab. Okay? Loss of senses due to fainting, madness, or drunkenness, vomiting a mouthful, spitting saliva that is made up of mostly blood, touching one's private parts with the bare hand, and laughing during the prayer. These are all things that will constitute you to make another wudu in the Hanafi madhab. The Shafi madhab is defecation, urination, or passing of gas, losing consciousness or sleeping deeply in the reclining position, touching the private parts with the bare hand, and then touching the skin of someone of the opposite sex who is not related to you. Okay? Those are all things that would create a place where you need to do another wudu. And then the Hanbali madhab is going to the bathroom or passing gas, deep sleep in any position, emission of semen, vomiting a mouthful, large amount of blood or pus discharged from the body, and eating the meat of an animal not slaughtered in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the things that each school of thought believes that you need to repeat your wudu for. I personally, if I bleed anywhere on my body or I vomit, even though I don't follow the Hanbali, the Shafi, or the Hanafi madhabs, I make sure that I still perform another wudu. So if I was to vomit or if I was to bleed somewhere in my body, I would clean that wound up, I would bandage it so that it's no longer bleeding, and then I would repeat my wudu. Okay? There are a couple of times that wudu is absolutely necessary besides the salat. Okay? To make tawaf around the Kaaba. So to circumvent the Kaaba, you need to make sure that you have a wudu. So if you're going to Hajj, you need to have a wudu when you're going around the Kaaba. To make sajda when reciting certain ayat of the Quran. In your pamphlet, there is a section that says sayings every Muslim should know. And then, sorry, those are my notes at the top for when I'm teaching the class. But the next page is facts about the Quran. The third page, the third page is the last part of this page is the places in the Quran where you must stop to make sajda when you're reading. So, for example, in Ramadan, when we're reading each juz and we get to particular parts of the Quran, we need to stop and we need to make 2 rakats of sajda at those places. Okay? And in order to do that, you need a wudu. So, these are the other times that you need it besides the salat. Now, ghusl. Ghusl is a ritualistic bath, a full-on bath that we take, okay? And there are 5 times that we need to make sure we do ghusl. Most of these refer to women besides the Shahada, but it's good for us to know all of them because sometimes we're raising male children and we need to know that, okay? So the first one is when a woman's monthly period ends. So if you're on your menstrual cycle, the day that your period ends, actually, you should give it a little bit extra time to make sure it's not stopping and then coming back on. But, that next available prayer time, you would make a wudu when you no longer saw any blood, okay? The next time is when a woman's blood or childbirth ends. So after you have a baby, those sisters who had children, you know that there's a short time after you have the baby that you still continue to bleed. When that bleeding is done, you need to perform a ghusl before you can return back to prayer. Okay? And also, sisters, remember that when you are bleeding, you are not praying. Okay? As Muslim women, we do not pray as far as salat when we are menstruating. We also do not read the Quran when we are menstruating. There are some all English Qurans that they sell in the bookstore. Those are permissible, but not anything with Arabic in it. Okay. The next thing is after the emission of semen for men, whether they are awake or asleep. Okay, and for women, through sexual intercourse with their husbands, you need to perform a ghusl, okay? after sexual intercourse with one spouse. And then according to the Hanbali school of thought, which I still, do this particular, I still suggest this to sisters, and brothers, but specifically sisters, because those are the ones I'm dealing with, whether I follow the Hanbali or not, after you take the Shahada. So when you take the Shahada, you should perform a ritualistic bath. After you take your Shahada, you go home and you make a ghusl, because you are going into a new aspect of your life. Therefore, you want to make sure that you are washing away all of the old habits and all of the negativity that was with you prior to you coming into Islam. And then that you are a Muslim woman and you are coming into this new way of life, you are going into it anew, okay, and afresh. So the ghusl is pretty much like the wudu, except the entire body is getting wet and you are also washing the private parts. So in the beginning, you will say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You will set your intentions. You will wash your private parts thoroughly 3 times. Okay, make sure there's no, residue or whatever there. And then you will perform the wudu, and then you will wash the entire body. Right side first, from head to feet, and then left side from head to feet. So in the shower, I will literally go from my head. I will wash my face. I will go down my arms. I will go, under my breast, my stomach, my legs, my feet. Don't forget your back as well. So when you do all of your right side times your back, your left side, then you do your back. Okay? You don't want to forget that. And in the ghusl, your head is getting thoroughly wet. This is not a time where we just rinse it a little bit, because you're literally standing underneath the shower head and it's pouring on you. Okay? So your head is getting thoroughly wet in ghusl. These are the times that we need to make the ghusl, and these are also the times that we need to, these are the steps that we need to do when we're making the ghusl. This concludes our first section of the Islam 101 first class. That concludes part 1. For those of you who would like to stay and watch part 2, we are just going to go over the beginning section of the book that talks about sayings every Muslim should know. As I showed you a few minutes ago, we will be discussing this. This will be section 2. It will be very short, probably about 10 or 15 minutes, for those who want to stay in. Now, FYI, ladies, this particular course is videotaped separately, but every single week, women come to my home and we have a bi-weekly in-person course. So from now on, when we have the course online, I will be hooking it up so that we're recording, because the sisters are asking a lot of valid and really good questions during our study. On Saturday classes, the sisters are asking questions, and I think some of those questions may be ones that maybe some of you will have. So I want to make sure that you are able to see what questions they're asking and be a part of the class, whether you're watching it later on after us or not, so that you will also have answers to some of the questions that may be common for you. Okay? And then also, besides that, we will have the section 1 and section 2. In the new Shahada class, we are also going to be covering the rights of women in Islam, and this book is written by Mutahari, The Rights of Women in Islam. We will be discussing this in depth. So every week, and it's a pretty nice size book. Every week we will be pulling out one of the rights of women, and we will be discussing it along with self-love. We are having a retreat. The retreat will be in the middle of July. We're going to get together. All the sisters are going to get together, and we're going to have a 3-day retreat. It's actually 9 days, but there's only 3 days where we are together. So the first 3 days is reflection and learning oneself. And you're doing that, while you're home, on your free time, in between taking care of the children and the husband if you're married and have children. And then the third 3 days is when we're actually together. It's going to be an intensive. So I'm going to provide some video coverage of that. And then the last 3 days will be the 3 days that you will come home and you will reflect, and then we will, have a group discussion online about how this retreat, either helped or didn't help. And of course we will be checking in with each other throughout the entire retreat. Some of the retreat will be in group session, the other parts of the retreat will be by ourselves, where you'll be having time to self-reflect. The retreat will take place at the beach, so we will be doing Fajr prayer on the beach every morning, and we will be concluding with Isha prayer on the beach every night. Okay, we will also be doing midnight meditation, where we will go out to the beach. We will sit there. The water is so soothing. I don't know if any of you have experienced being on the beach at night, but if you haven't, you should try it. Go to the beach at night, sit there at the beach at night, and just suck in those ions from the water. I'm telling you, you will feel so revived. And if you have an opportunity, even sleep out there. It's like some of the best sleep I've ever gotten. Okay? So, not to, prolong this second part anymore, because I don't want this video to be too long. I mean, I know it's going to run close to an hour, but I don't want it to go over an hour for those, for those who are not actually attending the class live. Okay, so the first page is saying every Muslim should know. So the first one is La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah, and this is the renewal of faith. Every time we make salat, we say this in the salat. The next one is Assalamualaikum. This is peace be unto you. Okay. Wa alaikum assalam is peace be unto you too. It's the return greeting that you give to someone. Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh is the full greeting. This is peace and mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you. And this greeting comes with 30 hasnat. So a hasnat is basically a good deed, but it's the plural of one. So hasna is considered the single, and then hasnat is considered plural. And so it's a credit or a good deed which Allah weighs against your bad deeds on the day of judgment. So when you go before Allah, He will be weighing your good deeds against your bad deeds, as we discussed earlier. And every time you say to someone, Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, that is considered 30 good deeds. So please, sisters, give the greetings. Sometimes we had a sister ask earlier, well, what about the times where, we give the greetings and then the sister doesn't return it? She give us a stink look, or she, make her face a certain kind of way and she doesn't return a greeting. You still will get the blessing for giving the greeting in the first place. Okay, so we just want to give the greeting because that's your sisters and your brothers' rights over you in Islam. The next one is Bismillah, and this is in the name of Allah before starting something. So before you do anything, you should say Bismillah. Also know that if you feel bad about saying Bismillah before you're partaking in something, you shouldn't be doing it. So the idea is for us to always be saying in the name of Allah, I am doing this, and it's a constant reminder to you as well. Man, if I feel bad about, eating whatever I'm getting ready to eat that you shouldn't be eating, or smoking a cigarette, or drinking alcohol, you can't say it over top of it, then you know that you shouldn't be doing it. So that's a habit that you should be dropping. Okay? Jazakallah. May Allah reward you. This is when you're giving thanks for something. So somebody hands you something, you say Jazakallah. Okay? Jazakallah Khairun is may Allah reward you for the good. Okay? Barakallahu fikum. May Allah bless you. This is a response to someone where you're giving thanks. Okay? Fi amanillah. May Allah protect you when someone is leaving or going on a journey. Subhanallah. Glory be to Allah. This is when you're praising something. Sometimes you're in shock and you're like, Subhanallah, that happened? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. These are times that you would say Subhanallah. Okay? Inshallah, if Allah wishes. This is when expressing to do something. So you call up your friends, hey, you guys want to go to the mall? And your friend says, yeah, inshallah, let's go around 3. If Allah wills, we'll go at 3. Okay? Astaghfirullah. This is when you're begging for forgiveness from Allah and repenting for your sins. You want to say Astaghfirullah. MashaAllah. As Allah has willed. Okay? Alhamdulillah. Praise be to Allah for expressing appreciation for something good. Ya Allah. When in pain or distress or feeling overtaken by something, you will say Ya Allah. This is petitioning your Lord for His attention. Okay? Ameen. May it be so. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Peace be unto him. Whenever you are referring to the Prophet Muhammad, you say Sallallahu alayhi wasallam whenever you mention his name. Alayhi salam. Peace be upon him. Whenever you are mentioning a prophet other than the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So if you say Isa, you will say alayhi salam. If you say the Prophet Yunus, alayhi salam. You will always say alayhi salam after it. Okay? Radiyallahu anhu. May Allah be pleased with him or her whenever you say the name of a Sahaba. Okay? Radiyallahu anhum, which is multiple. So whom is, for those of you who know Arabic, is plural. May Allah be pleased with them. Okay? Rahimullah. May Allah have mercy on him or her. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun is one of the du'as that you can say when you hear that someone has transitioned. When someone comes and they give you the news of a Muslim who has died, it's inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun is what you would say. From Allah we come, and to Allah we return. Okay? La hawla la quwwata illa billah. There is no strength nor power except Allah. And this is like, in any times where someone is trying to force their power upon you, or when you're feeling overtaken, or you're feeling oppressed. La hawla la quwwata illa billah. There is no power nor might except Allah. Subhanallahi azim wa bihamdi. Glory be to Allah, the most great and worthy of praise. Whoever says this, Allah will build a place for him in Jannah. Okay? Facts about the Quran. It's the second page of the group of pages that I just showed you guys. Facts about the Quran. Okay. What is the meaning of the word Quran? That which is read. Okay? The answer is that which is read. Where was it revealed first? In the cave of Hira. Okay? On which night was the Quran revealed? It began to be revealed in Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr is the night of power in Ramadan. Also known as the night of power. So Laylatul Qadr, every single year, the last 10 days of Ramadan, we are trying to find the night of power. So Muslims are staying up extra late at night, and they are praying, throughout the night, and they're, making requests to Allah and thanking Allah for all that He has given them during the night of power. Okay? And so Laylatul Qadr is the night that the Quran began to be revealed. How many total surahs are there in the Quran? 114. How many ruku or paragraphs are there in the Quran? 540. How many ayah or verses are there in the Quran? 6,666. Now, I always thought that this was really, really interesting. So, for those of you who are learning Arabic, you will also know that the words of the Quran, when you put them together, the letters together, each letter has a numerical value, and this numerical value is associated with the letter of the Quran. So, when you're spelling out names or words, it gives you a numerical value of that name or word. So, and also for those of you sisters who like to zikr, you can do zikr based upon the name of the attribute of Allah that you are zikring using the numerical value of the letters, putting them together. So, for example, the name Allah comes out to the number 66 when you put it together in numerical value. So I always thought it was interesting that everybody associates the devil with 666. Well, that's very interesting to me, because if it was the devil, that's kind of like, it's like saying that's like saying the devil and Allah, like Allah is a little bit less of a number or less of a figure than the devil, because he has 666 as his number, and then Allah is 66. it's just something to think about. Where did they get that concept of the devil being 666? It makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? Allah is 66, and there are 6,666 ayahs of the Quran. As far as I'm concerned, the number 6 is a holy number. How many Maki surah are there in the Quran? There are 86 Maki surah. The Maki surahs are surahs that deal with faith, and they are generally prophetic, and they emphasize man's relationship with Allah. Okay, so those surahs that are telling us what's going to happen in the future, things that will come to pass, or the surahs that emphasize our relationship with Allah, what we should or should not be doing, those are considered Maki surahs. And then Medinite surahs are those surahs in the Quran, which there's 28 of them, those surahs in the Quran that deal with your actions and implementation of faith, the realization and fulfillment of prophecies, and they emphasize man's relationship with his fellow man and lay down rules and regulations for social and moral conduct. So as Muslims, we read these Medinite surahs, and these surahs, which are 28 in number, are giving us, tidbits on how to conduct ourselves with fellow Muslims, our faith that we have in Allah, and it is the fulfillment of prophecies. Talking about the fulfillment of prophecies. Okay? How many powder or juice are there in the Quran? There are 30. So in the month of Ramadan, we read one juice per night, and this one juice that we read per night is when put together compiles the 30 juice of the Quran. Okay, so each night of Ramadan we read one juice, and each of those juice make up a 30th of the Quran. Okay, so for a person who, other than Ramadan, wants to read the entire Quran within a month, they would section the month off. They will section the Quran off into 30 parts, which are considered juz, and these juz, you will read one juz each night in order to fulfill reading the entire Quran within a month. Okay? Then there is something called a manzil, or stage of the Quran. These are 7. So the word manzil is for one of 7 parts of roughly equal length into which the Quran is divided for the purpose of reciting the entire Quran in a week. If you want to recite the entire Quran within a week, you will cut the Quran down into 7 portions, and this 7 portions is what you will read each night of the week. Okay, so inside of your handout, there is a description of where those chapters start and begin. Start and end. And so you will follow that description, okay? And then the last thing is, how many ayah of verses are there when one must stop reading the Quran and after offer 2 rak'ah or sajda before continuing to read. There are 14 places in the Quran, and all of those 14 places I have listed on this handout as well for you. I know it's not clear, this stupid camera, but inshallah you can follow it on your handouts. So sisters, this concludes the first class and session that we have. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I'm so happy that you are here, that you are joining us. Like I said, next week inshallah the ladies will be here live, so I will be trying to record our lessons live. It does get a little extensive when we're recording, when we're recording the lessons, because as I'm going over it, the women are asking questions, okay? But ultimately, this is about sisterhood, and, I will be posting all of these videos on the YouTube channel, but also on my website, thisredtent.com. So you can go to thisredtent.com. This is a community, a sacred space for women, where we focus on the different aspects of women, those girls who are coming into puberty, those women who are already, of course, in puberty because you're a woman, and then when you are in the place of menopause. So that is also known as the maiden, the mother, and the crone. That is not an Islamic concept, but those are the 3 stages that women go through, the 3 phases. Okay, so this is a community for women of every spectrum of age to be a part of. And I created this community because I want women to have a platform where we can build sisterhood. And on this community website, we talk about a bunch of different things, and there's a bunch of services that are offered. But some of the services that are offered are a homeschooling dynamic for those of us sisters who are, teaching our children from homes. And even if you aren't doing homeschooling, we also have a curriculum that you can get at the beginning of every year that is a supplement to what you are teaching your children, what they're learning in regular schools. Okay, so you can purchase that. And then there is a doula piece. So we offer doula services to sisters in the community. There are full doulas, including myself, on the website. You can go on there, you can book a free consultation with the doula, and we will pair you with the doula that seems like she will best fit your needs. And for those of you who don't know, a doula is a companion during birth. Whether you have a husband or not and you are giving birth, the doula is considered a very valuable part, and I'm going to be uploading some more videos on the importance of doulas and what role they play in the childbirth spectrum. But just for a real quick overview, a doula is a companion during birth. So she is there to assist you and make you the most comfortable as possible during your birth. Okay, and whether you have a husband or not, you can have a doula. She is a support person for you. So there's a whole community, because the concept of women supporting women during childbirth is something that is what's the word I'm looking for? You can't put a price on it. You just can't attach a price to it. It's something that, in my experience, through birth of my child and having a support woman there, actually 2 support women there, it was phenomenal. It was something that I would not do another birth without. Okay, and so we have doulas that are available for those women who would like to, partake in those services. Okay, these are just some of the things that are going on within the Red Tent. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at thisredtent@gmail.com. Feel free to go by the website, thisredtent.com. Please subscribe and comment below and let me know if any questions you may have about this video, any topics that you may have questions about. I'm excited that you're here. I'm looking forward to us continuing our sisterhood. And inshallah ta'ala, we will continue to be in touch. Okay? Assalamualaikum, sisters. Peace be unto you and your family. Love and light. See you next week.